A very good evening, Zimbabwe. You are listening to Studio 7 from the Voice of America on Friday, that is February 6th, 2015. I'm Blessing Zulu.
And I'm Gibbs Dube.
And tonight on Live Talk, we are going to talk about the Dream Cup final between Ghana and Ivory Coast. That is the Africa Cup of Nations final.
To join the discussion, phone us directly at this number 001-202-619-2077 and we'll call you back.
And as usual, Live Talk goes out to Zimbabwe on our 919 medium wave frequency and on the 4930, 5940 and 15455 kilohertz shortwave, Monday through Friday at 8:30 p.m.
On the internet, you can find us at www.voazimbabwe.com, www.voashona.com, and www.voindebele.com.
Those are some of the scenes from Equatorial Guinea. Of course, again, thanks for joining us, and you are listening to Studio 7 Live Talk. And tonight on Live Talk, we are going to talk about the Africa Cup of Nations soccer final.
Ivory Coast and Ghana will face off on Sunday in Equatorial Guinea to determine which team is the best in Africa.
Ghana has won 4 Africa Cup of Nations titles, but the last of those championships came in 1982. Ivory Coast has won the tournament once before in 1992 when they defeated Ghana in the finals. Of course, Ivory Coast reaches the finals after cruising to a 3-1 win over surprise semi-finalist DR Congo, while Ghana handed host nation Equatorial Guinea a 3-0 loss in their Final Four match. That is yesterday, and there was violence in that match, Gibbs.
Very serious violence, and some Ghana supporters ended up leaving the match, and it was really not bad for for soccer. So if you wish to join the show right now, phone us directly at this number 001-202-619-2077 and we'll call you back. That number again 001-202-619-2077. For those that are using WhatsApp, here's the number that you can send us. Just send us a message on that number, 1-202-465-0318. That number again, 1-202-465-0318. Asikubeka mfuti.
Honguka hama dzadiwa nhasi toda kuti tinge tichitarisa nezvemakwikwi eAfrica Cup of Nations ayo asvika kwamvura yacheka makumbo. Mangwana ndo panenge paine mutambo wekupedzisira kana kuti mafinals pakati pe-Ivory Coast neGhana. Ghana yakakwanisa kusimudza mukombe weAfrica Cup of Nations kanokwana iko kuita kana. Ivory Coast yakangobudirira kamwe chete muna 1992 apo yakakunda Ghana mumafinals. Nekudaro amadzadiwa toda kunzwa kuti imi munoti kudii nemutambo uriko mangwana. Ndechipi chikwata chamunofunga kuti chichabudirira uye ndevapi vatambi vamunofunga kuti vachashura mari? Vakawanda vanoziva Yaya Toure anotambira iye chikwata cheManchester City kuBritain, uye ndiye akanzi ndiye akatambazve zvinonwisa mvura gore rino munyika dzose, vatambi vose vemuAfrica. Nekudaro toda kunzwa kuti munenge muchiona sei nezvemutambo iwoyu. Asi nezuro kwakatambwa mutambo pakati peGhana neEquatorial Guinea, asi mutambo iwoyo hauna kumira zvakanaka nekuti vatsigiri veEquatorial Guinea vanenge vasina kunyatsofara kuti chikwata chavo chainge charakashwa icho 3-0. Ndo kutanga kukanda zvinhu matombo nezvimwe zvakadaro munhandare zvakaita kuti mutambo umbenge uchimiswa. Zvinova zvinhu zviri kushorwa nevanhu vakawanda nekuti mitambo iyi yanga yatambwayo zvakanaka. Gibbs.
Yebo kambe zilukani ndaba siyakwazi ukuthi ngensonto zindala zombili Ghana versus Ivory Coast siyakwazi khona ngale ku AFCON lapha ke sikhuluma nge-African Cup of Nations eyabe iyi-final of the finals ukuthi kuyabe sekufiwa phela kuyagijima indoda izidabuka ibhlugwe. Sizwile ke izolo ukuthi bekule nkinga khona ngale ke e-Ivory Coast kudlala ke iGhana kanye le-Equatorial Guinea. Kucina kulokugijimisana sibili ongani awuhambanga kahle. Ungazani phela ebhoreni vele nxa usukhangele blessing lokhu ngana kufunakala ukuthi abantu becine besilwa ngezandla. Umsebenzi wokuya ebholeni yikukhahlela ngonyawo kumbe ukubamba nxa ungolkeeper kuyavunyelwa khonokho kodwa ukuphosa izitina lezinye izinto no abantu bayakwala lokho. Siyakwazi ke ukuthi iGhana ke siyathola ke inkomitsho le kane ka4 phela bese siba ke i-Ivory Coast yathola kanye inkomitsho leyi. Siyakhumbula njalo ukuthi i-Ivory Coast yake yashaya ke iGhana kuma-finals. So ke sifuna ukubona khathesi ukuthi kuzala nkomoni. Siyakwazi ukuthi kulabafana abadlala kahle kakhulu abanjengoJordan Ayew kanye lo-Henry Ayew laba ngabantwana bamnumzana lwana phela wayidlala ibhola okumangalisayo mfowethu u-Abedi Pele Ayew. So abafana bakhona balezikili ezimangalisayo sibili bese kusiya khona ngale Ivory Coast siyakwazi ukuthi kulo Yaya Toure ngoyi-Manchester City khona ngale siyakwazi ukuthi uyahlohla okumangalisayo njalo kodwa uyi-midfielder. So sifuna ukuzwa ngani ukuthi lithi kuyaphumani ke emidlalweni lowo. Nxa lifuna ukuthi lingene kathesi nasi phone 001 202 619 2077. Akuqhubeke mfowethu.
I think we have our two guests. That is the Premier Soccer League chief, Kenny Ndebele. Mr. Ndebele, good evening.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Thank you so much for joining us. And we also have a sports analyst and former Premier Soccer League player, Mo Moyo. Mo, good evening.
Good evening, Blessing. Good evening, Gibbs.
Thank you so much, Mo.
Thank you, gentlemen. Gibbs, maybe you can kickstart.
Yes, let's start with you, Moyo. So Ivory Coast versus Ghana, what do you think?
I think it's a very interesting final. You can see these teams, they started what we can say poorly, and they've built up as the tournament went on, and they've been scoring goals, which is what fans want. And I think this is a dream final. It's going to be enjoyable. But I think Cote d'Ivoire is going to win it this time.
Mr. Ndebele, your take on the tournament so far?
It's been an interesting final. Typical AFCON final. Very tight, I'm sure. We'll probably go up to the penalty kicks to determine the winner from the way the teams are balanced. And you remember the last time they met in a cup final, I think it was penalty kicks that decided the gold medalist. I think it's a tight one. Interesting that both teams have top professionals, but Ghana seems to be up-and-coming youngsters who have played in the FIFA World Cup before. So it's really going to be very exciting. Cote d'Ivoire have pushed, and they seem to have a coach who has been there before and who was actually the winner of the 2012 or the previous Cup of Nations before the South Africa one. So I think it's going to be very tight and interesting as well.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ndebele. For those of you who are just joining us, good evening. And tonight on Live Talk, we are talking about the world's favorite sport, or number one sport rather. It's soccer. And of course, it's the final tomorrow in Equatorial Guinea, pitting Ivory Coast and Ghana. These are two West African giants. And many are expecting fireworks. But the question is, who is going to win the African Nations Cup final? Egypt did not qualify, but they've won it a record 7 times, and Ghana has done it 4 times. Cameroon, the great Cameroon, of course, we all remember the great Roger Miller, Cyril Makanaki. Those were brilliant players from Cameroon. They won this tournament on 3 occasions. That is Cameroon. So Ivory Coast is a very good side, but only until recently. I think with the likes of Didier Drogba, Yaya Toure, what Mo calls the golden generation of Ivory Coast. Mo, why do you call it the golden generation?
I think for the Toure brothers, age is finally catching up with them, and if they do not get it now, it may be never. And as you can see, there are quite some very brilliant players that are coming up with Boni stepping into Didier Drogba's boots, very big boots, but he's been doing very well. And I also think they've got a very good coach in Yavi Arena, having, like Kenny has just been saying, having won it with Zambia in 2012. They've been there before. I think this crop of players, if they don't win it now, it may take another long time before they can do it. They've got a very good mixture of young players and experience. So it's their time, I think.
So it's Yaya Toure's time to shine more. His argument is that age is catching up with these players, and they are expected to deliver because, you know, once you hit 30, it's difficult.
Exactly, but if you perform like Roger Miller,
Indeed.
maybe you can make
that one
it coming
was an
in,
exception.
Yes, coming in the second half, and you know that can make a difference. So sibona ngazani okwamanje silo mnumzana Zibusiso osegoli. Baba Zibusiso kunjani?
Ngiyaphila kithi.
Kunjani khona lapha eSouth Africa?
Yeah, hayi bengisadla manje hayi sengiright.
Kade usidlani khona lapho ke mnumzana?
Bengisidla uphuthu.
Oh yeah, kade ungajaka amacimbi?
Hayi awekho la masicimbi.
Oh okay, yeah. So ubona njani umdlalo obuya?
Hayi umdlalo obuya Gibbs uzoba mnandi kodwa ke ngisacela ukukhuluma ngenye into before ngomdlalo. Ngisacela baba Gibbs sengokwesibili ngikhuluma ngayo lento ukuthi sisacela ukuthi likhulume neziphatha amandla kuye kube lehlelo nje oluzokhulunywa ukuthi mhlawumbe onakho wena ozokukhuluma nje kanye ngeviki
siyacela. Oye hayi sinyakuzwa sibili kakhulu ngizabakhumbuza namhlanje sehla khona lapha sensiyafika eofisini.
Alright, hayi lokho Gibbs sure ngeke ngakhuluma lawe before uyakhumbula sikhuluma ukuthi igani izodala lebafana libona njani yimi ke ngangikhuluma. Ngoba umlandelo omkhulu mina weGhana.
Yebo phela.
Umlandelo omkhulu weGhana vele lento ebengangikhuluma ngayo yiyo nale isizakala namhlanje. iCup ihambile sidede. Yethu iCup hayi Ivory Coast ngamakhehla lana plus iVory Coast right phambili idefense yayo very feel. So lokho kayature ngokwakhe lokuthi uzoyithatha iCup ngeke ayithathe le iCup. Ungabheka kahle nje umuntu odlala nguJevinho lapha labana oTore labana umfowabo lwana abakwazi at least emuva lapha kulo siyagadieni ngiyembona ngathi ungcono. Manje iGhana ngabafana abancane baqinile bayagijima bayamakha baya-attack benza yonke into akukho nje mhlawumbe okungathiwa beyalekha lo ngokumakha lo ngokwenzani manje uyature balinde ukuthi ibhola libuye abakwazi uku-attack lapha babona nje bafuna kuphela ukuthi bedilive ibhola bese belidistribute kodwa ke iGhana ikwenza konke ngisho lo goalkeeper wangikhona mase kunzima uyaphuma.
Kwenziwa kuyini wena ngombono wakho ubona nabafana laba ubenza njani indaba kwenza khona?
Basimisele laba bafana abayenzi into ukuthi mhlawumbe mina ngubani basimisele ukupresent iCountry labo benze konke abakutshelwa ngucoach yiyo into kuphela ezobenza ukuthi bakwazi ukuphumelela. Angithi uyabona la abantu bekade sebezitshela lwana umfana lo owalwa lo umfana lo kuzeni uSalim Mndare lalwana omunye angithi uyabona kabekho ngabafana abancane bodwa abafuna ukuthi babonakalise ikusasa labo. Umuntu omdala nguJiyani kuphela yedwa lapha.
Oh yeah.
So hayi iCup ngethu Gibbs uzobe ungifonele futhi mase sithethe
hayi sizayenza njalo lesicelo sakho uzasihambisa phambili
ya kodwa please ningakhohlwa lento engiyicelayo ukuthi sike sikwazi ukukhuluma ezinye izinto ngoba siyehluleke ukungena ku-studio 7 sometimes ma ungabe kuyikuthi kunenye imbono lathi efuna ukuyifaka uthola ukuthi inamba
yebo phela hayi sizayenza njalo baba ungadinelwa kusasa-ke nomzana-ke sibusiso
ngiyabonga kakhulu du
hayi kulungile baba kulungile.
Okay.
Yeah, so is the same caller that called us last time, and made a request that can we please have an open mic, kind of thing, So I think we have to consider some of those.
Indeed.
Yes. So, but he says he's a staunch Ghana player. I mean, supporter. And at the end of the day, he says Ghana is going to win tomorrow. And he says Ivory Coast, yes, is a good side, but it's full of old people,
Yeah.
So he cited, examples of the Torre brothers.
Yeah.
He says, no, they always wait for the ball instead of going for the ball, And he says Kevino perhaps is the one that is playing good soccer, but there's no person to support him. So then he went further to say the defense, Ivory Coast, too bad. The Ghanaians are going to play around them, And he says Ghanaians are very good at everything. Midfield, strike, defense, goalkeeper, everything. He says when they're down, even the keeper goes in to play,
Yeah.
I think that's very true,
Indeed. We'll see how it goes. On WhatsApp, Fano says Ghana inotora mukombe Africa Cup of Nations. Mrs. Horita says Ghana is going to win. Matthew says Ghana will do it this time. Alonso says I will be tipping Ivory Coast to win this cup. Ino says Ghana 2, Ivory Coast 0. Trevor says Ghana will win, no doubt. Roy says Ivory Coast will take this one. Of course, for those of you who are just joining us tonight on Studio 7 Live Talk, we are talking about the Africa Nations Cup. The final is to be played tomorrow, that is Sunday, in Equatorial Guinea. Equatorial Guinea, rather, happens to be the only Spanish-speaking African country. And let's just look at the top goal scorers, Gibbs. There are a number of players who have scored 3 goals in this tournament. Andre Ayew, he has got 3 goals. He plays for Ghana. Yavia Balboa, 3. He plays for Equatorial Guinea, the hosts. And then there's Jumechi Mbokani from the Democratic Republic of Congo, also with 3 goals. Ahmedi Akaichi, Tunisia, also 3 goals. Thievi Befuma of Congo also has 3 goals. And then there are also a number of players who have scored 2 goals. And these include Christian Atsu from Ghana. Then there is Jeremy Bokila from Congo DR. Jevino, Ivory Coast, he has also scored 2 goals. Wilfred Boni, he has also scored 2 goals. He plays for Ivory Coast. And then, of course, there is Max Gadel, who also plays for Ivory Coast, who has scored 2 goals. More, let me come to you. Wilfred Boni will be going to play for Manchester City. And he's a very good player. Would you say he has delivered at this tournament?
Yes, I think he has delivered. The way the Cote d'Ivoire has been playing is that when they give the ball to Boni, he holds up play for them. And you can see from the contribution that he has made, besides the 2 goals that he has scored, he's managed to set up 2 other goals. It means that he's doing his job very well. And I think as the tournament he has gone, he has improved in terms of his involvement in matches. So he is the man to watch in the final. For me, he's the man to watch in the final. Well, all the work that Jevino does, he knows he has got the support of Boni. If they pump the ball forward, they know Boni is going to keep the ball for them as they move up to support him. So he has been very, very effective. And I think that kind of play will be very vital in the final.
Thank you, Mo. Gibbs?
news that we are receiving right now, Blessing, the Tunisian Football Association President Wate Jari has been banned from all activities relating to the Confederation of African Football. So it follows CAF's ultimatum for the Tunisian FA to apologize for accusing the body of cheating or be banned from the 2017 Africa Cup of Nations. So on Friday, CAF gave a deadline of 31 March for the Tunisian FA to apologize. Tunisia met the allegations over a controversial penalty in a 2-1 quarter-final defeat by Equatorial Guinea. So the referee, the game's referee, has been banned for 6 months for poor performance. And this is what the Tunisian FA said. After a meeting on Wednesday, the Tunisian Football Association refused to apologize, with a spokesman saying the team had suffered a scandalous injustice from referees. Now, let's come back to you, Mr. Ndebele. Do you think that is fair for the Football Association of Tunisia not to apologize for those allegations? Or those allegations have got some bit of substance?
Yeah, I see football is not like your NGOs where you talk of human rights and so forth. It's about rules. You sanction. The rules give you the right to sanction. So Tunisia should have waited for the CAF board to say make a decision about the referee. Because if you then want to argue against everybody, you face the ban. So, yes, in terms of maybe the human side of it, one might think it's not fair. But in terms of rules and regulations, the authorities have to be firm to ensure that the game is protected.
So-ke ngesintu nxa ungakhuluma khonapho ke Ndebele ukuthi kukhanya ngazani phela lokho kweTunisia asikho kodwa nxa ungakhangela kuhle igame lana eGhana ubonile ukuthi kwenzakaleni abantu sebegijinyiswa konke khonokho kambe ungathini ngakhonokho?
Ya yikho ukuthi kufakwe umthetho abantu belandele umthetho noma ungani uphoqiwe nxa umthetho uthe ufanele ulungiswe ukunanzelela ukuthi lo umkhokheli weTunisia ube kuliqembu le-local organizing committee eliyilo belihlela abe sevumela ukuthi abadlali bakhe nxa bewonile yena abe sekhalala abe sesiyakumemeze phandle kanti ubehlaleleni ku-local organizing committee namhla sekubona yena sokufanele ukuthi aye kuthi-ke sephuma ngoba sebedliwe. So umthetho ufanele ube khona nje ukuthi uqondiswe. Ngiyakwazi ukuthi isikhathi esiningi lalikhulume ngamalungelo abantu hayi ibholeni vele amalungelo malutshwana amalungelo ukuthi wena ufanele ulalele umthetho.
Yebo phela hayi siyakuzwa baba Ndebele ungakatshani ubambe khonapho. So in football human rights
it's not an NGO. I like that. Let's go to our caller in Blawa. That is Nigel. Nigel, good evening.
Good evening, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great, and thanks for joining us. Nigel, your take on tomorrow's final, Ivory Coast versus Ghana.
It has been an interesting Africa Cup of Nations, and I tip Ivory Coast. This guy who just called from SA Day, I think he was just one-sided, just because he loves Ivory Coast, Ghana. That's why he was speaking like that. So, but I tip Ivory Coast. One, because Ivory Coast is strong, especially going forward. They may have weaknesses at the back, but going forward they are very strong. And Gervinho will win it for Ivory Coast. Gervinho will definitely win it. It's unfortunate what happened yesterday. Also, the violence.
The violence, yes.
It's very unfortunate for our soccer and African football. I think if we are to improve, soccer, those things should not be allowed to happen in our soccer.
But overall, would you say you are happy with the way this tournament was organized, except, of course, that violence yesterday?
Yeah. I think I'm very happy because of the short notice. They were not given enough. They were just ended. They were given the tournament. It was not something they planned for a long time, but I'm very happy about that. But that thing that happened yesterday just tarnished everything.
Because it should not happen at a big tournament like that. Everyone is watching from Europe, everywhere. Everyone is watching. So it should not happen. But overall, it's okay. It was okay. It was okay.
No, Nigel, thank
And
you
I
so
think-
much. You can conclude.
I think Ivory Coast, it will win it on the counter-attacking thing. And that's because also the coach, he went into the final two years back. So he knows what it is like going into the final. So I think Ivory Coast will win it, hands down.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so very much for calling me. Thank you.
Of course, that's the beauty of the game. You can support any team you want. And of course, he alluded there to the fact that it was a short notice for Equatorial Guinea because the matches were supposed to be played in Morocco. And Morocco pulled out, fearing the outbreak of Ebola. Interesting. But of course, Morocco also happens to be one of the only African country that is not in the African Union. It's part of the Arab League. But back to soccer. Of course, we can also look at the top goal scorers of all time at the African Nations Cup. Samuel Eto'o leads all goal scorers with 18 goals. Then there is this guy from Ivory Coast, Laurent Poku. He has 14 goals. Rashid Yekini, I think we all remember Rashid Yekini, the Nigerian striker. Yekini scored 13 goals in the tournaments that he featured. And then there's Hassan Al-Shazli from Egypt with 12 goals. Patrick Mboma of Cameroon is also on 11. Then the great Hossam Hassan from Egypt, also 11 goals. Didier Drogba, he has now retired from professional football, though he's still plying his trade for Chelsea. He scored 11 goals. Some players, Kalusha Bwalia from Zambia, I think we all remember King Kalu with 10 goals in all tournaments that he played. Then there's of course, Manucho from Angola, 8 goals. These are some of the players. Roger Miller, the great Roger Miller, he scored 7 goals in the tournaments. He featured, and of course, on number 7 is also Ben McCarthy of South Africa. There's also Christopher Katongo from Zambia, Frederick Kanute, Asmoa Gyan from Ghana, and JJ Okocha. I think I still rate him as the best dribbler of the ball. JJ Okocha
I still remember.
is not without equal.
I still remember JJ Okocha. You still remember the game when somebody lost his job for praising him? You still remember that?
Oh, yes.
So if you praise him so much,
Yeah.
be careful, man. So let's come back to you, Momoyo. Now, let's talk about violence. Just, violence is a problem. So if you are a player and you are in the center of the field, and something like what happened yesterday, Ghana versus Equatorial Guinea happens, what is in a player's mind? What do you do first?
Gibbs, violence is very bad for football. It's very bad for football. And, for players, it's even worse because, especially when you are playing away from home, you are so worried about your safety because the safety is not only when you are on the pitch.
So
It's also you are thinking about
more can you hold on?
Stay on the line, and also Mr. Ndebele, please stay on the line. Of course, what we'll be discussing later on, breaking news, is that Morocco has actually been fined 1 million by CAF for failing to host the Africa Cup of Nations. We'll discuss that. And of course, our radio listeners, sorry it ends here, but the good news is we are streaming live. So go to www.voazimbabwe.com and press on Live Talk. This is Blessing Zulu.
And I'm Gibbs Dube saying stay tuned to Zimbabwe.
for those of you who are just joining us, good evening. And tonight on Live Talk, we are talking about the Africa Cup of Nations tournament. The final is tomorrow in Equatorial Guinea. And of course, it's pitting Ivory Coast and Ghana. And Ghana, of course, has won it 4 times. No other nation has won it more than the Pharaohs, that is Egypt. Egypt has won it a record 7 times, but Egypt did not qualify for this tournament in Equatorial Guinea, and many attribute that to the turmoil in Egypt, that is the political upheaval. And of course, Ivory Coast has won it only once. Ivory Coast beat Ghana in the finals in 1992 to win its first African Cup of Nations tournament. And Ghana, like I said, he has won it 4 times, but the last one was way back in 1982. Gibbs.
And of course, tomorrow, Blessing, DR Congo will be clashing against Equatorial Guinea for the 3rd and 4th slot in the tournament. If you wish to join the show right now, phone us directly at this number, 001-202-619-2077, and we'll call you back. That number again, 001-202-619-2077. You can also send us a message on WhatsApp. The number is 1-202-465-0318. Ye mahlabezulu nxa lifuna ukuthi lingene kuhlelo khona manje ake lisifonele kunombolo nanzi 001-202-619-2077. Ye ngiyayiphinda njalo 001-202-619-2077. Yeah, so we can continue. Momoyo, you are saying that if you are a player and you are right inside the center of the pitch and some kind of violence breaks out, what do you do?
You know, it's very difficult for players. You are so afraid because especially when you are playing away from home, you would know that most of the fans out there are against you. And I've always said the security that's offered at stadiums, most of the time it's inadequate, especially here in Zimbabwe. It's very inadequate. They just bring in a few police officers, and if fans really want to get to you players, it's quite easy. So when we are on the pitch there, it's very difficult. And you know, it's another issue would be even if you manage to get off the pitch and you are in the changing rooms, the fans may still wait for you outside. So it's traumatic. It's bad for the game. We don't need violence in football.
Thank you very much, Moyo. And Mr. Ndebele, you are an administrator, you know, in terms of soccer. In most cases, this kind of violence attracts so much, you know, in terms of heavy fines. So what do you think is going to happen to Ghana, to, you know, those 2 teams that were clashing?
Well, apart from fining the club, it is a bad advert. You can imagine your television broadcaster is ready to broadcast a football match, and they've got 10 minutes of missile throwing. Again, you have your sponsors that are associated with the game. As you know, CAF has long-term partnerships with the bank and the other companies. But what are you saying to them? Do you want them to keep on associating with you, or they want to go to another sport that has no much of violence? So the risk is the image of the organization, that is a CAF, gets tainted because the partners are not comfortable sponsoring events that turn out to be ugly and dangerous to players and officials. So, I mean, the action that will be taken will obviously to try and instill some sort of control and also to instill confidence. Sponsors must be confident that the organization that they are partnering with is capable of dealing with situations. It's always difficult. It's a difficult thing because violence is more to do with societal problems that are associated with a lot of these youths who they think, look, be looking at the consequences and the repercussions of their action.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ndebele, and stay on the line.
And we have more text messages here from our listeners. There is Ian Mandega in Harare who says, I think Ivory Coast is going to win if Yaya and Gavino stand firm. Another person text, but he did not, or she did not put his or her name, but simply said Ghana is going to win the AFCON Cup. Then Kuda Shoko Kumweneze anotie Ivory Coast ichatora Yaya na Gevino ishasha. Then Basket anotie Ghana oye tatora cup isu magana. Moyo says Ghana 2, Ivory Coast 1. Gibbs, those are some of the predictions for tomorrow's
Very interesting.
epic final between these two West African giants, that is Ivory Coast and Ghana.
Yes, lo mnumzana ke uPride Moyo osethungweni lapha blessing. Baba Moyo, ungawutshona njani?
Yebo tshona TV tshona njani?
Hayi ntshonile ungaphi khonapho eZimba?
Ngisematobo South koBhidi.
Kunjani khonapho koBhidi?
Hayi sibonela uphela elichisayo nje kulezi ntsuku.
Uboni ke mnumzana ungathini ke ngodaba lo?
Okay, ngiyakubona lapha ukuthi so navelela ukuthi ngithi ngisupporta ngathi Ivory Coast. Ngiyisupporta Chomba kaDevino labana labo Yaya Toure labanye nje abangani bakhe lapha. Into ezayimazelela ukuthi yebo kuhambi iGhana ngendlela kade idlala khona ama-games ayadluliwe sibona iqala ku-South Africa laphana itha ama-team ama-goals afika 3. Kodwa sonavelela ukuthi itimu edlala nje ingathi bambele njenge-Ivory Coast. Indlela edlala ngayo ayidlali igame edlalayo akusiyo leyana yoku-athaka kakhulu kodwa into engizayitsho ukuthi yabona abafana beGhana bazagijima nje akunokaba kwenza ukuthi bathande uku-athaka kodwa nje sazama ukuthi sibahlalise phansi nje sidlala igame esiyaziyo nje ukuthi sibekela namaphasini. Bazagijima bazobadinwe then sesiyaqala-ke ukuthi sithaye ama-goals labona ngibona ngani ama-goals la iGhana kade wathaya kwamanye ama-teams abo 3 ngibona ngani ezakuya soyinike yona nje ngesonto ezayo la.
Hayi siyakuzwa kakhulu. So ubona njani nxa ukuthi abantu bangadliwa sebegcina betshaya izibhakela? Ungathini khonapho?
Uzananzelela ukuthi umdlalo wenguqu lo ukuthi abantu betshaya izibhakela into lathi esilokhu uyibona lapha njengasemagumeni lapho kobulawayo ukuthi hey ngedovu lingazali bahambisi kahle ngendlela lapha uzathola ukuthi abantu basukuma kakhulu eSoweto lapha kuqale ukuthiwa izinto ezinjengamambodlela lokunye nje ama-orange. Ngenxa yokuthi itimu yabo siqalele ukuthi yokufanele inqobe yakuthola ukuthi sebeyidle kwenye indlela engahamanga kahle kodwa khona umdlalo longuqu akusiyo into edingakalayo mpela.
Hayi siyakuzwa kakhulu ke mnumzana Proud kula ngapho koBhidi ungathini kusasa mnumzana?
Okay kulo muntu ofuna ukukhuluma lapha ngazo mina.
What sikhulume la siyavuma.
Okay.
Yebo baba Dube.
Yebo linjani?
Hayi siyaphila sibona ilanga ngapha koBhidi ilanga liyachisa leli.
Aliphehla izulu pho?
Hayi thina siqina izulu ngoDisemba kuze kube namhla kula zulu koBhidi.
Hayi sizakhuleka ukuthi libe khona mama.
Hayi sure mina ngumama kaProud.
Mama kaProud kunjani ma?
Hayi siyaphila. Hayi mina yami ngisupporta iGhana ngithi zawina kuphela iGhana ngenkani.
So umdala yena usupporta iIvory Coast
Hayi ubaba kakho swasi.
Okay. So ke ubona njani? Ubona ngathi ngokuyisupporta iGhana leyo uyisupportelani uyithandelani vele?
Hayi ngithanda nje ukuthi bona badlala beyiteam bebonke benjalo akula kuthi kulobani bona badlala beyiteam njalo vele ngiyayithanda since 2010 iSouth Africa.
Yebo so ke nxa ungabona abantu sebekantshana nje abantu ezitendini kwambana sebesilwa ungathini ngakho khonokho?
Hayi akulunganga lokho esikubona kusenzakala kuyona libhora elidlalwayo nje hayi akukuhle lokho. Ibhora silibonile libanjiwe eSouth Africa ngale ngo-2010 hayi lokho kwenzakala kathesi lokho kwenzakala kuTunisia lokho hayi asikuthandi.
Hayi siyakuzwa kakhulu ke mama kaProud khona ngapho koBhidi ungadinela kusasa mama.
Hayi ngibongile kakhulu lami ukuba semoyeni ngikhulumelana.
Hayi lathi sibongile kakhulu. Utshela abaningi phela ubatshela ukuthi kumnandi ukukhuluma ku-Studio 7 la.
Hayi sizabatshela sibili kakhulu.
ye akubatshele phela mfuna utsho enye into lapho uthi nxa befuna ukuthi besifonele ma
sami ukuthi lisithiye emoyeni sikuradio bakithi hayi mina ngikuthandi bantu.
Yebo.
Siyabe sisafuna ukulalela uhlelo selisipuma sisala sisemoyeni shuwa.
Hayi sizabatshela abakhulu enxeba ngakulungisa. Hayi siyabonga kakhulu.
Ngingayengezelela isikhathi.
Hayi kulungile sibongile mama.
Hayi lami ngibongile kakhulu.
Hayi kulungile. So I was talking to Proud Moyo and her mother. You know, Proud Moyo is supporting Ivory Coast, and they're saying Ivory Coast is going to win, maybe 3-0.
Wow.
And then the mother said, no, she's for Ghana.
Wow.
Because Ghana is a good team, and they're going to win, definitely. Very interesting. And the two of them don't like violence.
Yeah.
Say, violence, Poleni. They don't like it.
Let's look at the road to this final. Beginning, of course, with Ivory Coast. In their first match, they drew 1-0 with Guinea. And then there was another draw with Mali that was also 1-1. And then, of course, they beat Cameroon 1-0. They also beat Algeria 3-1. And they went on to beat the Democratic Republic of Congo 3-1. Ghana's road to the final. They lost 2-1 to Senegal. And then they beat Algeria 1-0. They also beat South Africa 2-1. And they went on to beat Guinea yesterday, Equatorial Guinea, that is... Guinea 3-0. So there's Guinea and Equatorial Guinea.
Yes.
So they beat Guinea 3-0. And then that is in the quarterfinals. And then in the semifinals, that is the match that was played yesterday, they beat Equatorial Guinea 3-0 again. And then let's look at some of their players who play in the Premier Soccer League. Ivory Coast is Kole Toure, who plays for Liverpool, Sheikh Tiote, who plays for Newcastle, and then Yaya Toure, Manchester City. Wilfred Bony also plays for Manchester City. And Ghana has Christian Atsu, who plays for Everton, Kwesi Appiah, who plays for Crystal Palace. And of course, other players to watch. There is Gevino, who once played for Momoyo's Arsenal and is now playing for Roma. He's a brilliant player. And then, of course, the great Asmaya Gyan, who is the Black Stars captain and all-time leading goal scorer. He is already one of the greatest African players ever. He has scored at 3 World Cups and seemingly always finds that clutch goal for his side. Gyan rested an injury during the semi-final match yesterday, but is expected to be in full force for the finals.
And we've just received another kind of news bulletin from Equatorial Guinea, from the disciplinary panel of CAF. So it says, the disciplinary panel of CAF meeting on February 6, 2015 in Bata, Equatorial Guinea, received the reports of match officials, following the incidents that marred the match number 30 of the Orange Africa Cup of Nations between Ghana and Equatorial Guinea. The match under review, counting for the semi-finals of the competition, was played in Malabo that we saw. So it says, pursuant to Articles 82, 83, and 151 of the Disciplinary Code of CAF, respectively related to the principles of conduct, responsibility, and safety of the organization of games, the disciplinary panel decided that 1, to have the Equatorial Guinea party cover the cost of treatment of all injured persons during that match. Secondly, to impose on the Equatorial Guinean Federation a fine of $100,000 for aggressive behavior and being repeat offenders, right? And thirdly, to have the team of Equatorial Guinea play their next game behind closed doors, in camera and without spectators. But this has been suspended on condition that something of that nature won't occur in the next game.
Yeah, Mr. Ndebele, this has been very swift.
Very swift.
Well, in terms of the competition, you need to have a body that is ready to come up with a decision so that the competition is not disrupted. Maybe from a personal view, a bit lenient. 1 million for somebody and then 100,000. Of course, if people are hosting it, it's difficult to really come hard on them and suspended sentence. Why suspend it when they still have a game to play? yeah, well, look, I don't want to really analyze some of these things. Maybe there are other circumstances depending on how the referee presented his report.
Mo, what is your take on this swift judgment that has been delivered?
I think I commend CAF for giving this delivery as soon as today, because we would want other countries to know that there are rules and regulations to be followed when such tournaments are being hosted. But at the same time, I also feel like Mr. Ndebele is saying some of it's harsh to another country compared to the other country when you really come to look at it in terms of the 100,000, the 1 million, the other, how they came up with all the other fines and all. So I think they did well in terms of doing it as quickly as possible. But on the actual sentences, I think there is a query there.
Thank you so much. Mo, Gibbs.
So, and according to this kind of statement that was issued, 36 people were injured in that kind of soccer melee. And then 14 of those were actually hospitalized.
Yeah,
and they're describing it as a very serious incident. Okwamanje ke sesilo mnumzana uStanley Moyo oseGweru. Baba Moyo ungawutshona njani?
Hayi, ngiyatshona bakithi.
Kunjani khona beGweru?
Hayi, eGweru nje hayi kuyachisa ke izulu liyana kancane.
Ungabuka ngkhona eGweru khona.
Ngiselwa Gwelu eVungu constituency.
Usayikhumbula ingoma lana yakudala eGweru tshena nanka amadoda. Uyakhumbula?
Kakhulu kids.
Azayi ngomtshela uBlessing ukuthi uyahlabela blind, yabo. So ubona njalo umdlalo obuya baba.
Yebo kids. Ya, mina ngihamba nge-Ivory Coast. Ya, Ivory Coast ngibona hayi yaphusha kakhulu ukuthi hayi Ghana ngeke idobhe lutho lapho. Ya, indlela abadlala ngayo amadoda lana hayi banjaleli ibhola limnandi kakhulu kokuthi ngikhangelela ukuthi hayi isicoco bayasithatha noma kanjani.
So uthanda baphi kompana aba-Ivory Coast uthanda obani?
Ya, uyayathori. Ya, ngiyamthanda kakhulu hayi ngiyamzwisisa kakhulu indlela adlalela ngayo hayi mina ngwami iyangifuthisa iyangichaza kakhulu.
Uvele khona ngale Ngilandi usupporta yiphi club ngokutsho kwakho la?
Mina ke club engiyisupporta iReal Madrid.
Yebo.
Ya, ithanda kakhulu emidlalweni la. Ya.
So ke indaba unganiki Ghana iChinese phela.
Baba.
iGhana ayingeke yazama ukuthi inyiki kancane.
iGhana ke yebo ke ingakhona ukuthi izame ke kodwa ke mbona ngani i-team ehlangane nayo ke hayi chance yakhona i-very slim. Ya, i-very slim ukudlala iyadlala yona ke kodwa ke i-team edlala nayo ke ile experience njalo ucoach wangikhona bani ucoach oseneliste ecoach amazathiyeneyo ukuthi hayi usenolwazi olujulileyo ke lapho.
Awuboni ke Moyo nxa ke kungavuka udlakela ke baba Moyo kuthiwani pho?
Iqiniso lihle udlakela into ke embi ke emidlalweni into esingayikhuthaziyo nje umhlaba wonke jikelele hayi udlakela kasilukhuthazi thina ubhola umdlalo kids. Umdlalo ukuthi wonke kwamele ukuthi adlale ekhululekile izibukeli lazo zibe ngokukhululeka abona bejabule umdingo ukujabula lokhana nje ukuthi abantu bekwazi la ukuthi bethole isikhathi sokuthi bephumuze imicabango yabo. So ngabona sekufike lesibani sokuthi abantu sebefila sekuqatshaka emidlalweni khona babe kungasachazi uyabe engaseyiwe umdlalo uyabe isiyimpi.
Hayi siyakuzwa kakhulu ke mnumzana Moyo khona ngapho eLowa Gweru ubophenduka phela ungasibalekeli.
ngiyacela-ke baba Steve nginesicelo lapho ukuthi hayi bengicela phela lihlale lihlezani lingithintathinta mina-ke hhayi selapha sekwakhona lapha hhayi libe lingithintathinta ngiyazame-ke ukuthi incingo zenu ziba nokunzima ukuthi sizithole lapho.
Hayi siyakuzwa kakhulu sizabatshela-ke oproducer ukuthi bakuzame ngoba bangabona inamba yakho sithi bayi bahle beyifonele.
Hayi kakhulu la kuqala lalithumezela indize lapho kustudio 7 kathesi sokuyizenga sakwelutho sokuthunyisile.
Oh yebo.
Neva sibile enkulu kakhulu kustudio 7 lapho.
Hayi siyakuzwa mnumzana Moyo kulungile sibongile kakhulu.
Hayi nami ngiyajabula ngiyathokoza umsebenzi eniwenzayo ukuthi qhubani lizoliqhubisise shuwa hayi kuyabongeka lokhu umsebenzi eliqhubayo hayi number one likhaya ihlombe.
Hayi sibongile kakhulu emoyo sibili sibongile baba.
Hayi nami ngiyajabula phisi.
Ye ube lempela viki enhle baba.
Nami ngiyajabula baba. Hayi silali libe lokuthokoza baba emelika.
Yes. So Mr. Moyo says Ivory Coast will win the match and he says the match winner will be Yaya Toure. He loves him, you know. That's his favorite player actually. But he says no violence please, you know. Because soccer he says is the most beautiful game. So let it be, you know.
Regai tiende kuna mkoma Lloyd Homani makadi ku South Africa. Mkoma Lloyd makadi.
Ngoma Zulu makadi yengi.
Aiwa istirina ni mkoma Lloyd. Muri kuona se mtambo wa mangwana.
Yeah, mtambo mangwana ka uningoli tough but it's not easy kuti Ivory Coast win but of course zangu supporters zangu Ivory Coast ma chances ukuthi win. Because kunataka sama players arimu chikwata che Ivory Coast anima players akati one day mangwanitambira ku Europe and ma players achona mangwa ana experience. Then ukalazaza futhi coach Ivory Coast yo. Yembe yake white anopeka yeke I think in something yembe yake yembe yake guys already profile to kudara uri akamira pa post payaka agare pasi bosa anofungisa ngoza fabish saka ronga ndi coach yoko ari ngachizo zvangachita saka I support Ivory Coast is going to win this tournament.
Nemushonga here kalauti
no mshonga isathi ngwa blessing hayi ifair asumse but ukuthi zoza coach even la sayini no game I played for group of death ya group of ikamba even Ghana again group of death they got my group of death about 2 so my teams are antaba zakafana. So if you check even some Guyana, sometimes some Guyana are going to meet some chances like Awandis, even those guys from sometimes one going to go, one going to go. I mean, I want to contribute Bora. I didn't know that. So I don't midfield mango, mango, Papango. Prior Toriga, I don't think Donbudi there. I don't think Donbudi there.
Saka mnenge mchiona mtambo muri kupi manje?
Wa mlezi yangu ini yangu ninoanza kufara ngo na mtambo iga ndiri mu mamno Pretoria mno. Ya yangu ndio zangu na kufara kupina mabawa hizi zote sometimes uzakana mabawa zinokonzeresa saka ndowanza kufara uona ndiri 1 sometimes uona wamuka na 2 3
aiwa tinotenda zvikuru mkoma Homani
andiri ngwa blessing
of course Homani has introduced that topic that we usually want to discuss with Mo and Mr. Ndebele. Juju. He says the Ivory Coast coach is a Frenchman, Hervé Renard. His white shirt is always putting on that white shirt, standing at a certain position. He thinks there's Juju there. Gibbs.
Mo, I know that you don't believe in some of these kind of things. But you know, our caller believes that there is something. Don't you think there's something in that shirt, you know?
No, Gibbs, there's nothing. That guy will just be concentrating. He likes to relax by that, standing by that side, just watching the match. the white shirt is not like he wears the same shirt every day. He puts on another white shirt. He's always been wearing those white shirts. He was fired by Zambia wearing a white shirt. Then
so there's something, Mo.
Why
There's
does
something.
it seem like now it's something that's extra special? There's nothing special about that shirt.
It's a fashion statement.
Mr. Ndebele?
Yes, Mr. Dewey.
That white shirt. Is there anything,
White shirt.
Juju? You know?
Well, it's just some superstitious belief, luck, and I think you saw the Ghana goalkeeper had some a small toy yesterday, during the last night's match. So, well, it's just some beliefs, but it's not juju. It's just superstition.
Of course, Mr. Ndebele, the phone is breaking, but he's saying there's no juju. But of course, there were only 3 African coaches in this tournament. And of course, all of them are out. So there's this Frenchman, Hervé Renard, who coaches, of course, Ivory Coast. And Avram Grant, who coaches Ghana. He's from Israel. Now, more to just conclude this show. Zimbabwe was not represented. Nigeria, the holders of the tournament, did not qualify. And Egypt, who has won it 7 times, did not qualify. Your take on these 3 missing? More?
I can hardly hear you, Blessing.
Oh, okay. I was saying that, of course, Nigeria, the holders, did not qualify for the tournament. Egypt, which has won the tournament a record 7 times, also did not qualify. And, of course, Zimbabwe. What did we miss?
I think the level of the competition was quite high. And we missed a lot. You know, the experience of playing at the highest level of African football. That's the highest level of African football. We all want to participate. But I think we would have done better with Nigeria in the tournament. With Egypt, I would understand because they have not been playing football for a while. There's been so much trouble in their country. So, but I think we would have got quite something from the Nigerians because they've got experienced players and they bring a lot of passion with their fans, their drum beating, and there's just that feel that comes with the Nigerians. But for us Zimbabweans, we will still hope that one day we will have the magic wand and make sure that our team qualifies.
Your last word, Mr. Ndebele?
Well, I think come Sunday, it probably will be Ghana after penalty kicks.
So, Mr. Ndebele is going with Ghana. More, I think you are going with Ivory Coast.
Cote d'Ivoire 3-1.
And Mr. Dube?
Both.
No. You have to choose one.
I think Ghana will win. Yeah? I put my money on Ghana.
I think Ivory Coast will win.
Do you remember what happened in Brazil?
No.
You know what to do, right? Yeah. Mo, remind me.
No, this is a different ball game altogether.
The 7 pick. But anyway, gentlemen, thank you so much once again for your time. And of course, let the best team win tomorrow. Of course, that match pitting Ghana and its neighbor, Ivory Coast. And we want to thank, of course, our listeners, those who sent us messages on Facebook and also on WhatsApp. And, of course, our 2 guests, Mo Moyo and Kenny Ndebele. Signing off, this is yours truly, Blessing Zulu. Of course, we don't want to forget our team behind the scenes, our engineers and producers.
And signing off is Gibbs Tube in Washington, D.C. Have a lovely weekend.